this is an introduction to alternate tunings. Now you probably already know what standard tuning is for your guitar. Standard tuning is E, A, D, G, B, and E. Now what alternate tunings do is just what it sounds like. It's a different kind of tuning for your guitar. There are a lot of artists that are very well known for using alternate tunings in their music. So I'm going to just introduce you to a couple of really basic alternate tunings that I find a lot of fun, and you can definitely take it from there. In fact, I have a little word of advice. If you start really playing around with alternate tunings and making up your own riffs and cool songs within an alternate tuning, make sure you make a note of what tuning you were using for that cool riff or that new song. There is nothing worse than picking up your guitar that's in standard tuning a month later and trying to figure out that awesome riff that you wrote and not knowing what tuning you were in. So make a note of it. Now we're going to start with the first alternate tuning we're going to look at today, and that's drop D. Now just like it sounds, we're going to drop the lowest string down to a D. Right now it's an E. We're going to drop it down one full step to a D. Now what I really like to use drop D tuning for are especially for songs that are in the key of D. Now if you play a D chord in standard tuning and you leave this sixth string open, you're going to hear an E note, which does not sound good. Check this out. Not quite what I like to hear. A way to improve that within standard tuning is you can wrap your thumb around to the second fret on that low string and play an F sharp. That sounds better, but to me, the best thing is to tune this low string down to D, and you'll get that root D note in your D chord. And so let's try that. By the way, I should mention, I'm using a headstock tuner right here. These things are so handy to have. I highly recommend you have one. I'm using an Untitled tuner, and they're fantastic. It's just really nice to have your tuner with you at all times. You don't have to plug it in or anything. Now, of course, if you have a beautiful Luna guitar like this, you've got a tuner built right in. So that's pretty amazing as well. So let's see if we're in tune. All right. So you can hear that low D sounds beautiful with this D chord, right? Love it. One of the things that I like to do just when I'm jamming out in D, in drop D, is I use my middle finger and I will fret the third fret of this low now D string and also this fifth string. So this is what it sounds like. Now we're going to look at power chords in drop D. Now drop D can be a very rock and roll tuning because it's super easy to do power chords. All you need is one finger, this one, and a few strings. So if you're fretting with this one index finger, the first three strings here, well technically they're the last three strings, 4, 5, and 6. You've got a power chord right there, and it's super easy. You can move it around wherever you want. Now, I have a song called All the Way, and the chorus utilizes this very technique. So it's like this, just at the 5th fret and then the 10th fret. All right, you can play around for days with power chords. Now, one thing you might find when you're working with alternate tunings is until your guitar gets used to being in that tuning, you may need to retune. All right, so now we're ready to move on to another really great alternate tuning called Dadgad. And the reason it's called Dadgad is that's what the strings are that you're going to tune down to. So D-A-D, Dad, we've already got D-A-D. Then we've got Gad, G, which we already have. And then the B string gets changed to an A, and the E string gets changed to a D. So I'm going to do that right now. All right, so now that we're in Dadgad, we can do some things that are kind of similar to drop D, and they sound, in my opinion, even cooler in Dadgad. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do another power chord, and you can use your index finger just like you did before, but this time you're going to make sure that you let these 3 top strings ring out, so it'll sound like this, which I think is a beautiful, beautiful sound, and it's much easier to get this particular chord in this tuning than if you were in standard tuning. That's my favorite one of all. Oh, I love that one too. So you may have a hard time if you're just starting out doing that with just your finger, your one finger. So if you like, you can pretend that you're doing an A chord and use your second, third, and fourth fingers and just put them on these lowest 3 strings. It's a lot easier. And they've got a little bit more control. Right? You can play around with that. You can also play these chords up here. So that's some fun with Dadgad. Another thing that you can do and experiment with is just using one finger on one string and move it around to all different kinds of frets and see what it sounds like. So here I'm going to try using my middle finger on the G string and just play around. So here it's like this. So that's a little bit of fun with Dadgad. There are some artists who make a whole career out of writing and performing primarily in Dadgad tuning. People like Pierre Bensoussan, Lawrence Juber, and a lot of other guitar players you might want to check out. I hope this gives you some fun stuff to work on. Don't forget to have fun with it, keep at it, and I'm Allie Handel. You rock.